Cape, where fire and rescue services are on high alert as the first of a series of cold fronts hits the Western Cape. Earlier today, a truck blew over in strong winds on the N2 near Somerset West. 3 people were injured. Heavy rain, high seas, localized flooding and even snow are expected.
This is where the Cape of Storms gets its name from. A churning mass of water with huge sea swells, gusting wind and heavy rain. 2 consecutive cold fronts have hit the mother city and will affect mostly the southern and western parts of South Africa. The public is urged to follow the South African Weather Service forecasts to best prepare for and protect themselves. Strong and gale-force northwesterly winds with gusts up to 100 kilometers an hour are expected in the northern, eastern and western Cape.
These strong winds will also then be spreading into the southern regions of the Free State tomorrow, and as well as along our coastal regions, along with wave heights of 6 to 8 meters. Heavy rain will be leading to flooding, as also then expected for the Western Cape, with the flooding continuing into Saturday. We also have a watch then out for light snowfalls, which are non-disruptive as of yet, that are expected over the mountainous areas of the Western Cape and southern high grounds of the Northern Cape tomorrow into Saturday morning.
The strong wind is expected to spread to the Free State, while snow is forecast into the Eastern Cape. The National Sea Rescue Institute is appealing for public caution as rough high seas are expected.
Dangerous waves or swells may also be caused by storm surges, resulting in coastal damage to infrastructure. NSRI urge beachgoers and coastal hikers to stay away from the coastline. Dangerous waves or surges may catch them off guard along the coastline and could potentially sweep them off the rocks along the shoreline.
While the weather is normal during winter for the Western Cape, it's hoped the upward trend of cold fronts will continue and bring more rain.
The Western Cape's average dam level at the moment stands at 46%, so it's not at 50% yet. So we certainly hope to see dam levels get a substantial boost.
The cold weather is expected to reach Gauteng by Saturday. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.
All right, you heard him there talking about those dam levels. We're now joined live by the spokesperson for local government in the Western Cape, James-Brent Styan. James, thank you for being with us. So let's start with the injuries. 3 people injured after a whole truck blew over. Anybody else in danger? Any more injuries?
We've just had a report of 2 missing people in Cape Town at the Vygieskraal Canal. And the early indications are that there was a girl who got into trouble and a man went in after her. So Cape Town Fire and Rescue are on the scene looking for the 2 missing people. We want to urge people to take great caution when they're moving around outside, especially with water running all over the place. Call the emergency services, be very careful, and we're hoping that we can track these 2 people down quickly, but they are on the scene at the moment. Yeah. Those are the 2 major incidents you're aware of.
So that was near flooding on the roads, basically?
No, Vygieskraal Canal, it's in the southern suburb, so I don't think it was a road, it's a waterway.
Can you describe what you're experiencing in Cape Town right now, and what is expected over the next few hours?
Well, it's very wet, the wind's blowing, the roads are very difficult to drive on. Lots of water in the road, so people need to be very careful when they're driving. And the traffic is a lot heavier than it's been for a while since the lockdown restrictions have been eased. So there's a lot more traffic on the roads today. We want to urge people to take great care when driving around outdoors. The conditions are very difficult. Visibility is low. The wind is picking up. We've had a situation in Ladysmith. Is more in the interior, the Karoo, where the wind is so strong it's whipped off the roofs of a whole bunch of buildings. There's no electricity in that town at the moment. So it is I'd say, a provincial challenge at the moment with several different problems up.
Yeah. And we know often it's the poor who feel the full brunt of this. Informal settlements, flooding. We're hearing about Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, the Strand among them. How bad is the situation there?
Oh, we deal with it on an ongoing basis. People are deployed to where where the problems pick up. So we're probably in for a difficult night, but we'll know better tomorrow, I suppose. But people are aware where they can go for help. There are many contingencies in place to assist people. Communities have sadly been through this before. There are, things that have been handed out to people to assist them in the event of localized flooding. But sadly, this is kind of storms that we're starting to see in the winter.
And will there be emergency shelter for everyone affected?
There's always emergency shelter, yes, but not always. People don't always want to take it up. Very often they don't want to leave their belongings behind. They don't want to leave their dwellings behind. So it's a bit of a challenge. But certainly there is more than ample shelters available for people who need shelter.
Yeah. James, there's been concern about shelters for the homeless in the Western Cape during the lockdown levels. What's the situation with those shelters? Do you know?
Well, off the top of my head, it's not entirely on my area of expertise. I can't speak on behalf of the City of Cape Town or any of the other municipalities. But certainly, when the regulations called for the homeless to be accommodated, accommodations were arranged for them. And since the restrictions have been eased, as far as I'm aware, most of those accommodations were no longer necessary. But in most of the municipalities, they do continue to be in place over the largest parts of the province, as far as I know. But I haven't, checked in with it recently with regards to those specific shelters that were picked up for the COVID situation.
No problem. Now, Eskom is saying that there could be load shedding tonight, and apparently there have been power cuts because of the flooding already. So that is a double whammy, isn't it, when it's very cold?
It's a heck of a problem, of course. Eskom calling for people around the country to reduce the electricity usage. It's not only going to affect the Western Cape. If load shedding hits, it will affect the entire country. As I mentioned, we've got power outages in Ladysmith, the little town in the interior, but that's probably down to collapsed power lines rather than, of course, load shedding. Eskom, I think, is going to be a challenge moving forward through the rest of the winter, especially at least to this weekend. But if the challenges that they've been telling us about is their generators that are falling over, that are tripping essentially, and it takes a while to get them back online. And if we see that continue over the next few weeks, it could be in for a load of pain.
Finally, it sounds like it's just dangerous to be outside from what you're saying. It's dangerous to be near the sea. We've seen those swells. We really hope that these two missing people will be found. But what's your message to the people in the affected areas?
I suppose the basic message is threefold. Stay indoors as far as possible. Try to avoid traveling as much as possible. The conditions are very dangerous. And if you come into a bit of trouble, if there's a challenge, if there's a concern, reach out to the emergency services. They've been on standby throughout. They remain on standby 24/7. The emergency number in the Western Cape is 112. You will be responded to. You will be helped. Please don't enter moving flood waters. Please don't try to cross waterways with running water. You don't know how strong you could be underestimating the strength of the water, but those would essentially be the three messages. Stay indoors as much as possible. Call us if you need help. Try to avoid traveling as much as possible. And maybe a final one, it's going to get very, very cold. Lots of snow is expected in the Western Cape. It's going to get very cold. So please, dress as warmly as you can.
Incredible weather there. Thank you very much. Spokesperson for local government in the Western Cape, James-Brent Styan. And of course, we'll follow those efforts to find those two people now missing near that canal. Now,